All right, think quick. What is the difference between pushing people into a mortgage they can't afford and an expensive health care policy they do not need? What if I told you nothing? Either way, it's the government pushing the help and pushing us to the brink. The housing crisis leading to a taxpayer bailout is the health care law leading us right back to where we started. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you. I'm Neil Cavuto, and Fox, on top of some very expensive history, may be repeating itself to Ben Stein, Charles Payne, Dagan McDowell, along with Adam Lashinsky and Charlie Gasparino. First to Charles, who is charged over the government at it again and leaving us with the bill. Charles, where are you? It looks like Boynton Beach, Florida?
Yeah. Actually, this is where we're taping, but down at Palm Beach, where you could actually be the king. Everywhere I go, they say, "Where's Neil? Where's Neil?" A lot of people have asked for Ben, some Dagan, and only one for Charlie. But that's the way it goes.
Good to know.
Don't tell me that person was at it. And please don't tell me that person was at a strip
Thought there was like a club opening or something. But Charles, what do you make of that? You know that we've already now started addressing the problems with this law, but now I'm beginning to suspect come the costs. What do you think?
Well, Neil, we're talking already $300,000 into Medicaid, a program that was bust to begin with. We're talking about, and by the way, it was never suggested, or at least I never heard the president say, taxpayers were subsidized health care insurance for people who have jobs. In fact, up to 400% above poverty. A brand new entitlement that's going to cost trillions of dollars. Oh, and by the way, you had a plan that was supposedly substandard. We'll get you a better one. Sort of like a banker telling, hey, why don't you buy this $1 million house that you can't afford? History not only repeating itself, but exponentially more dangerously so.
Dagan, what do you think of that?
I think that it is a very dangerous proposition that we're getting into, where you already have Marco Rubio, the senator, calling for legislation to ban a bailout of the insurance companies. And that is a real possibility. If just the health exchange idea, if the economics of that and the financials of that fall apart, if you don't have enough young, healthy people signing up, that subsidy is not there for people who are older, who are sicker. Again, and then the burden falls on the insurance companies. There's a lot of blame being passed around, but ultimately, the bill for all of this will fall on the American taxpayer.
That sounds like a healthcare meltdown.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is so screwed up. You think it's almost designed to fail. I mean, I'm thinking that the president can't be this like sort of inept. You know, these guys, I know they screwed up the stimulus package. Dodd-Frank is a mess. Their alleged signature achievements, including this, were pretty bad. But it makes you think they designed it to fail so they can literally socialize medicine. And that this thing, they know this thing is never going to work. Because I don't know how, you know, I'm not an expert at this, but even the people who are experts that know a lot about it can't get their hands around it. There's a lot of it that doesn't make any sense, particularly the way they rolled it out. It was
well, we're going to argue the particulars how it was launched, but I guess, Ben Stein, the issue now comes to the cost of fixing it and whether it will be akin to what we had to do after housing. What do you think?
Well, the big difference is the government got back a lot of the money that it invested in the banks and in the insurers after the bailout. The government's not going to get any of this money back. Of course, it's going to cost way more than was estimated. Of course, it's going to cost the government more, and of course, it's going to cost the insurers more. And of course, the insurers will mobilize their army of lobbyists and get the government to bail them out. The sad fact is this president cannot tell the truth. Mr. Obama can't tell the truth. He can't tell the truth about Benghazi. He can't tell the truth about the IRS. He can't tell the truth
Ben,
about Obamacare.
you're changing the subject now.
He just cannot care. No, I'm not changing the subject. Look, before you were in diapers, Adam, I was writing a bill, helping write a bill to give everybody in this country universal health care. Now we don't, and we don't have it. It's 40 years later, we don't have it. We have some hodgepodge Rube Goldberg invention. None of you will know what that is, but ask your grandparents. And Mr. Obama still won't tell the truth about it.
Adam, I guess the question now is that it's good to acknowledge a mistake and say you're going to move on, but I do think that some of the realities we're coming to find that people are going to have to pay more for policies, and that it could be on average substantially more, $2,000 more than they're paying now. That the reality is crashing home, and a lot of people are going to be in a position where they simply say they cannot do this. So the last stop, the last resort is Uncle Sam, and there's going to have to be some way to have the government pick up that slack, akin to what the government was doing after housing. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think it's a perfectly good comparison, and I disagree with it. I mean, I think you all are going to be wrong, but we won't know for several years. And so with housing,
you know what? Just for the hell of it, Adam, just for the hell of it, I'm going to stay on for the next several years, and I am going to wait for you to eat those words.
I'm counting on it. I'm counting on it, Neil. And by the way, I'm still getting over my hurt feelings that nobody in Palm Beach is asking about me, Charles. But be that as it may.
What I like about Charles, at least I feel a little calmer. He's without the tie. He looks very Florida. Yeah. So at least, even if the world's going to end, he's going to go down fashionably. Charles, what I'm wondering is the reality of this setting in for folks. It's one thing when we sort of telegraph some of the surprising and hidden cost of this, but now the not so surprising, not so hidden cost of fixing this.
You know, it's amazing to me, Neil, and Adam, by the way, I'm going to go to the Salvation Army this weekend before I leave here, and the good folks there, the kind-hearted folks there, you probably will be their champion and their hero. But don't you find it amazing that's the same people that are telling us to change everything we are as a nation, to spend trillions of dollars because it might get 1 degree warmer in 100 years, can't see the train wreck that this is, and we should wait the next 3 years?
Right. And by the way, they don't have.
I like to say that I didn't get to make yet.
Adam, your point that this thing is going to be good and give it a couple years. The president doesn't have a couple years.
That's completely beside the point.
No,
so let me finish my point, Charlie.
It's not. If you're telling us that we have to wait 5 years purely from a political standpoint, they're going to have to throw. They're going to have to do something.
All right, Adam, to that point, finish your point.
Housing was this multi-decade bipartisan mistake where we guilted people into buying homes because it was a good thing, and not everybody needed to buy a home.
Housing prices went up.
People
felt richer.
Everybody does need health insurance, which is what this is designed to do. At the end of the day, will the government subsidize health insurance for some people? Absolutely, yes. That's the way the program was designed. That's a good thing. It doesn't mean we're going towards socialized medicine. And Charlie, last point. Whatever happens to President Obama, this thing will have a chance to work long after he's gone.
You do not have 3 years, okay? That's it. No political.
Megan, what do you think?
I think it's a blessing that this is. Many people are realizing now the flaws of this law, with the millions of Americans' policies getting canceled, with people's premiums going up, with the healthcare website not working. Because even to this day, you have a vast number of people on Medicare who won't admit that the doggone thing is going broke. It's 13 years out. The fund runs out of money. We should have fixed that thing before we did anything else, and nobody will admit that we are subsidizing that.
Okay. One counterexample nobody else is going to give. In California, one of the states that chose to participate in the law the way it was written, as opposed to all the states that didn't, people are signing up in robust numbers, and the exchange is working well.
A million have lost their policies, Adam. In your fine state, a million. Take a good look at that bridge behind you, because people are jumping off it. A million have lost their policies. They've lost their policies.
Could you imagine politically? Could you imagine 3 years of this politically for the Democratic Party? I mean, this is like insane.
Well, be careful about living in the moment. Moments change.
Maybe. Yeah. This is a train wreck.
I don't know what that means. This
is just going to keep wrecking.
You know exactly
I don't know what it means.
But fortune cookie over here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bad fortune cookie of that. We're going to talk about a White House fix, but in a bunch of recent polls, Americans calling the president's trustworthiness into question. And that is the Forbes gang wondering if they could trust the administration's fix for the health care law. Well, amazing that they're against the president. That is coming up at the top of the hour. But up next,